Welcome, everyone. This is Pineleaf Noodles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin.
Hi.
Maven.
Hey, y'all.
And Sanswinda.
Hello.
And this week our main news is that on Monday, which would be December 11th, we will have downtime for LOTRO so they could update us to 21.3, which includes a raid, I hear.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, there's been all this talk about the raid.
Yeah, that's the main thing that is in there. Though I think my lore master will appreciate that Inner Flame is going to go a little bit faster than it used to.
Yeah, and the looting, or the chests and the looting in the 3-man, the 6-man, and the raid, the new ones, are also, that's kind of good news. I mean, I guess it's good news. They're
Yes.
tweaking all that stuff.
You guys are going to be shocked when I say this, but I'm actually sort of kind of invested in this raid. Like, I want to do it. Well,
Yes!
Okay, because of the story.
Oh, yes, the story.
Oh, yeah, because
Yeah, I want to find out what happens.
Spent a lot of time chasing after those stupid dwarves, and I want to know what happens.
Yeah,
You
me
got a
too.
good
So-
I would like to know too.
You can't
Sadly, I
drag me
have
into
a
the other
feeling-
two places.
Sadly, I have
Yeah.
a feeling they're not going to come to a good end, but...
These things never end well.
That's true.
I mean, they just don't. And I'm really not expecting it to end well because
They're
it didn't.
going after a dwarf.
It didn't
one.
exactly start well, so I don't know that it really can end well.
You got a point there.
It's not like there was a great start to begin with, because I don't want to spoil it too much because we've done that already. Yeah, so you can't drag me into the other two instances, but you might be able to talk me into doing the raid.
Oh, we
Yeah.
can get you into the 3-man,
Not
I'm
like-
sure.
Not like you haven't yet. Not like a tier 2 or anything.
Yeah.
But
Oh. Oh, yes. But for the 3-man, we might be able to get you in there when we get to the point where you see the story that leads to
Leads to it. Right.
this is true, but I'm not.
You're not there yet.
I haven't been interested in going back into Narraband after seeing that story.
Well, you saw that.
Yeah, I see no reason to get you interested in that story, but I think
I agree.
I think
Of course.
Sargas has a more interesting story.
And
The
it's more
floor
doable.
being on fire is a big deterrent to going back into Narraband.
Karagos doesn't have a fiery floor. Points in its favor.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see how you feel after we finally get around to showing you what's the story that leads to it. And if you still have that opinion, fine. And if not, then you have to do it at least once, I think, if you're interested in the story. But we could do that at 105 Tier 1 just for the story.
Well, we will see.
You could solo it at
You
105.
can solo it
tier
at 105 Tier 1.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that.
I can solo it at 105 Tier 2. I'm sure you can solo it at 105 Tier 1.
You're
Yeah,
a
but
champ.
that doesn't mean anything because you guys do more damage than I do.
Well, you don't even have to pull a lot at a time, though. That's the thing. You can fight them 1 or 2 at a time. It's easy to pull a lot at a time if you're not paying attention.
The most exciting part of this is, we've been talking about it. I've talked about it on multiple occasions. The cat wander sequence that we've hinted about is finally coming.
Oh, yes. And of course, Kite's now settling to lower heights when they're indoors.
And
Right.
apparently there's a new quest at the at the Yule Fest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see that because Yule Festival is one of my favorites.
Mine too.
And is it that one was going to give you, maybe it doesn't say what it's going to give you yet in the release notes. I saw it somewhere, but I don't remember properly right now, so.
Just exactly what are you saying, Sanswinda?
I'm saying I think it's giving you essences
Ah,
that are Doomfold, but I'm not positive.
Ah.
Well, they're doing, instead of like the Northitalian shard thingies, they're doing the Doomfold Essence shard thingies or something like that.
Okay.
The Dark Essence, whatever's.
Right, so there'll be ones that you might want for your new Doomfold armor stuff.
The other thing about the Yuletide Festival is that they are finally getting rid of the More the Merrier barter tier 2 and 3
Hallelujah.
things.
Which is really nice.
So you can start bartering for things on day 1 instead of having to grind the festival.
Except I have to say my reaction was, wait a second. I earned that. I had to go through that. Why should other people not have to go through it? That was my reaction.
I think there should be
like 3 years in a row. Thank you very much.
I think there should be a reward for those who went through it. An extra reward.
Well, the tier 2 and 3 dates still exist, so you still get like the gold coins and stuff for doing them.
You just don't have to wait in terms of the barter.
Yeah, I was sad when I realized
that makes
I couldn't
sense.
barter
I could
for
never
stuff.
figure out. I don't think they do that anyplace else. They hadn't done that in any other festival, right? Have tiers like that? Whose bright idea was that?
I don't know, but it'll be fixed.
At Yule Festival, though.
That is true, and it's fun to keep going back to. It just
those are the dailies
fun.
that I do. It's the Yule Festival dailies.
Yeah. It just didn't used to be fun to have all the coins needed and not be able to get it because you had to do like tier 3 to get it. And you're like,
right.
What?
I race against myself at the Yule Festival. Okay, I did the round in 15 minutes. Now can I do it in 12 minutes?
And we get the reflecting pools that might let us go see eagles and take screenshots.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, that.
Oh, that's right.
And in fact, that's going to be helpful with a kidmate of mine who needs a little bit help in
the push 'em ball, right?
In the push 'em ball final instant.
Yeah. That'll be very nice for the folks that are coming up to do push 'em ball now. And I think probably what's the other one I was thinking of? Maybe that one in that other one early on in Udun with the captain that you have to help. I wonder if that'll be in there too. Is that's
the captain you have to? Yep. I don't.
Oh yeah, because you can do that as a duo.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do.
I feel like there was another one I was thinking of too, though. I don't know. Anyway, hopefully all of those, because there are a number of them. You know, like if you think about the one at the end of Udun where you're helping the slaves. You know, I mean, it'd be nice for all of those to be able to have somebody come help who's maybe already done it.
Yeah, definitely.
There are lots of fun things coming out. Yay.
Yeah, there are some changes to PvMP. It didn't say what the tweaks were. It said some stats have been adjusted. I don't think they're
monster
the same
player stats have been adjusted.
Yeah. Some monster player stats have been adjusted. I don't think they're the same exactly as what is on Bulroar currently, and obviously they're not still done playing with creep stats. However, you probably don't want to play a creep right after 21.3.
Or maybe you do. Maybe they're really great.
No.
Well, one of the known issues is that the free-player NPCs, keep guards, are level 116, which makes them too powerful. Oops.
Dope.
So get those keeps in before the update goes live, because if you're wondering after the update goes live why you're getting smacked around and splatted, that would be why.
Level 116 free NPCs.
Free NPCs, yeah.
No less.
Lovely.
And is the difference between 116 and 115 anything like the difference between 106 and 105?
I think so.
Probably.
Ouch!
Considering they said 116 makes them too powerful and the creeps would be at 115, yes, I'm guessing that it's a very similar divide there.
Oh, joy.
Yeah.
That means it's going to be real fun the next time we have a level cap raise, if that's the progression on there.
Well, they might alter the progression by then, too.
Well, that's also a possibility. Therefore, let us have a look at what's on sale. Oh, actually, the LOTRO beacon. Let's have a look at the beacon first. And looks like we've got it. That looks like something out of Nairband at the top up there.
Yep, that's what that looks like.
Yeah. a real nasty place.
Definitely not where you want to go on vacation.
Nope, not at all. But our question for this week for the weekly comment is, what is the name of your LOTRO-themed restaurant?
Moomox and Pie.
Moomox and Pie.
That's right, we've talked about that with Sans before. Daleman's Cram Restaurant.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be able to get at least 2 customers, right?
Invite your friends. Better than Doomfold cooked food.
Oh.
Balrog and Grill Restaurant.
Balrog and Grill.
The Barrow Bray Cheese Bar and Funeral Company. Oh, that's great.
Oh, yeah. And you reminded me that concerning, when you talked about the crayons being better than Doomfold cooked, in the patch notes, there are the new recipes for cooked.
That's true. I'm looking
that
forward
brings
to
them
this.
on par to crayons.
Hooray! They will be as good as crayons.
Hey, that's something.
And if you like Hobnanigans, you'll need to check out the Hobnanigans Chicken League. Yeah, I wonder how many members they have over at the Chicken League. Hopefully at least 6, right? And actually at least 12 because you need at least 2 teams. See. And let's see. Anything else interesting here? Not that I see. So anyone else have anything that they find that they wish to discuss?
I guess that would be a no.
Then let's head into our store sales. And what's on sale this week? And are we going to rally to it?
Well, 25% off milestone skills, Hurry Traveler and Returning Traveler, advanced riding traits, and rally horns.
Yay!
I don't generally buy rally horns from the store, but now is the time to do it if you're gonna, because they're on sale. Definitely take advantage of the riding traits, and if you don't like waiting around for your milestones to cool off, Hurry Traveler and Returning Traveler are good to get too.
So are hunters.
This week's, yeah, I just keep a hunter in my pocket. I don't know. Free sample of the week is a 100% Infamy Renown gain ×1 with coupon code INFAMRENO. INFAMRENO.
Then let's head into our new player question. And what question do we have this week? Maven?
Okay, so I have a question for you guys. And it's not so much a new player question because it's for old players, but it's something that new players might enjoy knowing about. So I've actually had this happen, and I'll give my example when it's my turn. But so after you kind of had mastered LOTRO and were an experienced player, what's something that you learned about playing your class or playing the game or whatever that was like a forehead slapper, like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't know that. Like, for example, our beloved Andang, who has played for how long? Since beta, right?
Yeah.
Didn't know until like just a short time ago when Terry told him that you get more money from the vendor if you open the recipe scrolls before you sell them. Which is like, something super basic. So what's something that you guys
just,
like, you've been playing for a while and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't know that.
Sometimes people don't check the prices of things. Like who actually stops and checks the price difference between an unopened scroll and an open scroll? I do.
Well, that's true, but I mean, being around for 10 years, I mean, I learned it. I learned it because other people told me. You know, other players told me about the thing.
Anyway. Enable skill target skill forwarding, whatever that one is, can be turned on, and then you can shoot through things or heal through things. It's very helpful.
Through things or through people?
People. Or NPCs.
Right. Yeah, that's very helpful. So yeah, if new players don't know what that is you can target another player, and then when you shoot, you'll be shooting whoever they're shooting or whoever they're targeting.
Right, because if otherwise it'll just keep coming up, cannot harm target, cannot harm target, cannot harm target, cannot harm target.
Right.
And it's really annoying. And you're like, seriously, I just want to shoot what they're shooting. And you turn that on, and voila, you target them,
so
and you can shoot what they're shooting.
Options,
unless they have another player targeted, in which case you've got to figure out what that player has targeted. But it at least works once removed, so that's nice.
That especially helps. I find it helps when I'm in like groups. If you're doing instances or skirmishes or something, and you're wanting to make sure, like with Terry, for example. There are times when Terry's in a certain line. It's important that we target whoever she's fighting, because that helps her hit harder, right? Do I have that right, Tara?
If I'm tanking, it's important that everybody else is on my target because everything else needs to be hitting me in the face.
Right. It's a good thing for her to get hit in the face. So if that's the case, enable it. Then for me to take the guesswork out of it, because sometimes it can be hard, especially if there's a big crowd of fighters, to find the person you're trying to target. So whoever that person is shooting. So I just stay on Terry. I just have Terry targeted, and then when I shoot, I'm automatically shooting whoever she's shooting. So that's really useful.
Yeah, because champion tanking, champs in blue line get this thing called masochism, and that's because everything needs to be hitting you in the face.
Because you get more, you get more DPS, or you
generate more threat every time you take damage.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's how we generate. That's how we get the bad guys to be really mad at us. Is we have them hit us in the face. we also do actually hit harder that way.
Do you? Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the main thing, obviously, when you're tanking, having more threat is pretty necessary. So we don't lose, so they don't go wandering. So those mobs don't go wandering off to other players.
But just the assist window in general is handy to know how to use and how to turn on. And you can
that's the other thing, the assist window,
turn it on through your combat options, and you can also turn it on through the social panel. If you go to your social panel and go to the raid tab, there's a little checkbox at the bottom that says show assist window.
Because that's an addition. Because Sans is talking about the target forwarding thing, and that's a different box that you can check. But it is important if you're going to do any kind of grouping at all to do the assist. What is it called? Assist window.
Assist window. Yeah.
Make sure that's checked too, because if your group leader puts up people, they'll put people actually up there. Like for example, when we're with Terry will be up as a target. It's a target assist. So I can just click on her name in that window, and I automatically target her. So
instead of having to try to find me in the middle of a bunch of things that are trying to hit me in the face.
Which
is also handy if you're healing, because then you can see she's really losing morale fast. I best get around whatever line of sighted me.
That's right. Well, I'll tell mine. I did, so how the warden has the gambits, so there's a progression, and the rune keeper has the thing with the progression. Somebody was saying to me the other day, not that long ago, but the other day, something about, when your focus meter as a hunter, when your focus meter is full, you can do blah blah blah, and I'm like, what are you talking about, focus meter? I had no idea. And he said, if you look at the sword hilt, that's the auto attack little icon in your skill bar. There's the semicircle that's above that hilt. That's your focus meter, and so it actually fills up. If it's all the way red, it means that you're up on all your focus. If it's dark, it means you don't have focus. So, and it goes incrementally up. And I'm like, I had no idea.
What did you think that bar was? Now I need to know what you thought that bar was. What do you think that bar was for?
I never even noticed that it did it. Well, it's just part of the decoration. I don't ever look at that part of my skill bar.
You know, at first I thought that the focus, like whether or not I could use my focus skills, actually depended on how hard I was focusing on the game. That made absolutely no difference, however hard I focused. And it was really annoying.
So
I didn't know there was a way for me to actually be able to see, you know, where I was at focus wise. I just figured it was it's just, I would know when I had enough focus or something when the skill lit up. So yeah, I didn't even know.
So wild. Because Champion Fervor is the same, thing.
Is it the same? It's the same thing, that same thing? Oh, okay.
And if you want to, you can make your Runekeeper's bar go in that same spot.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I learned that there's something like show full-sized or show mini, and if you choose your Runekeeper thing to be mini, it'll go
to that spot.
in that same spot where your focus is.
Well, that's pretty convenient.
Which is pretty convenient.
Do that. Yeah, I'm going to do that.
I'm going to have to play with that. I didn't realize that was a thing.
Yeah, I changed it for my Runekeeper, and it really decluttered the screen and was easier for me to pay attention to because I was already used to it for my Hunter.
You're already used to it for the Hunter. Yeah. All right, fine. So, Terry, you tell me what you learned since you're laughing at me about my Hunter focus.
I'm just completely boggled that you did not realize that was a thing, and I'm like, well, handy pro tip, Champion.
But why would I?
That's your fervor bar.
Yeah, but why would I, as a Hunter, know that? I mean, it's not.
Well, I only found out by reading tons of Hunter things, trying to figure out how I can figure out why I wasn't focusing enough.
And it also doesn't really come up regularly in conversations among Hunters. Get out of my way, you stupid guy! I'm sorry. I'm standing in that room
that
in
comes
Bag
up
End
frequently
where
in
those stupid chests are, and there's a guy just cut right in front of me. I'm like, you know what? That's just rude. I'm sorry. Anyway. So, Terry, go ahead.
Still boggling.
Sadly, I don't think I'm going to be able to laugh.
Well, while Terry is trying to think of this, I'll also tell you all.
It comes up in the tutorial, those tutorial screens, which I actually was reading tutorial screens when I was first playing the game, because I didn't have anybody else to rely on. Because back when I started playing, I was playing it solo. I had friends who were playing, but they were playing at cap level, which at the time had just gone up to 75. And so they had left me in the dust. Bye, see ya. So I had to figure everything out for myself. I didn't know anything about podcasts or anything like that. So I was reading all of wasn't reading quest text, but I was reading the tutorial windows when they popped up. Gosh darn it.
All right, so equal time. Come on. Spill the beans.
I can't think of anything that made, because all of my really stupid moments happened early on. They didn't come out later.
Oh yeah.
I've told you guys about how I used to try and get rides from the stable horses and be really baffled about why the stable horses weren't giving me a ride.
I still do that. I did it last night.
I haven't done it in ages, but now that I'm talking about it, it's probably going to happen again. I don't know, I'm always learning new things about the game anyway, because I'm always trying new stuff. I mean, I've got Champion pretty well down.
But no forehead slappers for anybody? For any of your characters?
Not really.
Okay, that just...
Not that I can think of, anyway.
That just proves you're an alien and not actually human.
Well, I think it's just because if I've had moments like that, they've never really made me go, oh, what an idiot. I'm like... oh, well, that's kind of cool, and just gone on. So,
so is there anything kind of cool
because they happen before I get to a character to max level? I guess it's probably the difference, because I probably did have moments like that, but I wasn't at max level with the character, so I was still learning the class anyway.
Is there anything kind of cool that a new player might like to know that you didn't necessarily know at first, or have encountered people who don't know?
Well, just the thing I say all the time is read your tooltips. I try telling my mother this, and this is the piece of advice she refuses to listen to.
How do you get multiple tooltips to stay up in separate places on your screen so that you can take a picture of all of them, so you can read them?
Oh, The default for static tooltips is the H button. So if you've got the tooltip up and you push H, it makes it stick to the window, and then you can move it around.
Oh. Because I figured out how to use H to put them up, and then they were all stacked on top of each other, and that was not helpful.
And you can just move around.
Yeah, I move them around as I put them up so that they don't wind up stacked on top of each other.
Good call.
How about you, Pine?
I will say that the thing that has it is whenever I come up with a new gambit that I have been underutilizing on the Warden. Mm-hmm. For example, I think it was about a year ago. Actually, no, I think it was when the Paths of the Dead was released, where I finally learned that Surety of Death is not a single target skill. It is a multi-target skill on there, and therefore it's a good thing in which to help to take care of, because I've been using it as a single target skill and ignoring it at other times.
And just didn't pay attention to the other guys that dropped dead around you, right?
Well, usually when I was using Surety of Death, there weren't other guys around me because I was using it as if it were a single target skill.
Right.
So therefore, I was having that, because normally I was using the bleeds instead, which, when I say the bleeds, I mean the group taps, life taps. So it's using the life taps for those anyway. So if I was seeing them die, I would have thought it was from using resolution on them or something like that.
Right.
That's now what fist shield, right? That whole fist shield. Fist
shield. Yes.
That whole progression is all AOE.
Yeah, I had not thought. Now, the thing that I would say most recent is when I was looking this up to verify everything, is noticing Brink of Victory. I so rarely use Brink of Victory. And in looking at this, I just noticed, now, one reason probably is because you don't get it till level 34, where you get Surety of Death at level 16.
Oh, right.
So therefore you get all this trained using Surety of Death. They say, well, what do you need Brink of Victory? Well, it turns out that there is a Warcry Brink of Victory Surety of Death chain, which builds them up in the same way as you have other chains on the Warden.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And the other thing is that Brink of Victory has the same range as Warcry instead of the Surety of Death one. And the reason why that's important is that means that Brink of Victory might be the Shepherd of Filth dealer that I've been looking for all this time. because depending on what level you are, because if you're, for example, at 105, Warcry can wipe out all those stupid worms. But as soon as you hit 106, forget it. Those Warcry's not strong enough to do it. But Surety of Death really wipes them out, but it doesn't have the range. But Brink of Victory is a second tier of it, and I'm hoping, I have to experiment with it, of course, to run some skirmishes and test this out. But Brink of Victory might be what I need in order to do that, so that, especially if I did a Warcry first. So, of course, I can't waste too much time doing that, because you know how shepherds are and really getting those worms out quickly.
Uh-huh.
So that's something to keep in mind. See if whether or not a unassisted Surety of Death is good enough for it, and if it's not, whether I could have a Warcry prepped when I think the Shepherd of Filth is getting ready to do it soon, and then be able to quickly get off a tag in a Surety of Death in order to take care of it. So that's something to experiment with and see if, Brink of Victory. Because Brink of Victory, if it's able to do it, would be really good, because lately Shepherds have been a real pain.
They're always a real pain.
Yeah. Well, if you have a good way of handling all those worms, or if you have a good way of stunning the Shepherd, they're a lot less of a pain. But yeah, they're always a pain anyway.
I just usually try to kill the Shepherd before you can do anything.
Well, yes, that is the champion way of doing it.
It works when you can do it.
Yeah, if you can do it. And sometimes at lower levels I can do that pretty easily. But Yeah,
Otherwise
higher
you
level.
get covered in filth. Ugh.
Yeah. Yuck.
And then you kill him because you're mad.
But I'm also slow.
Well, yeah.
And when you're playing a warden, because the timing is sometimes exact, because I have the muscle memory of the timing of of setting up the gambits, that when that shepherd's in there, it always fouls up my timing. So therefore, I really don't like them for that reason. Anyone else have?
Try to start out with whatever that gambit is that increases your attack speed. Not reversal, the one that's one skill past reversal. I don't actually know warden skills. I know the numbers I need to hit to make it.
Yeah. See, so reversal is the one to remove. No, I mean that's the one that removes the. What are those stupid things called?
Corruptions.
Corruptions. Yes, corruptions.
They're stupid things.
Yeah.
That one is Spear, Fist, Shield.
Okay, Spear, Fist, Shield.
And then Spear, Fist, Shield, Spear, I think is whatever the gambit is that.
Adroit Maneuver?
Yeah, that one.
Minus 4% attack duration.
Mm-hmm. You get your stuff off quicker.
I think it's because it comes at 58. I've never really get into the habit of using that one.
Again, I read the tooltips. And well, that one was really interesting to me when I saw it. I was like, oh, what does that do? And I read it, and as a Redline champion who traits into pretty early into the trait that reduces attack duration, I'm familiar with how useful it can be when you can fire your skills off quicker, especially as somebody who pounds the keys instead of clicking on them.
Yeah, and seeing how the gambits thing are one of the few things that I actually do click on the warden. I mean, not click, I mean key press.
Yep.
I'll see if I could actually remember to do that one. But usually it's not in my rotation. And the question is, there's just so many things and they're trying to get into the rotation that I know I've been playing it all these years and I still haven't remembered them all.
That just goes to show you that the warden is a tricky class.
Yeah, I'm sure there's someone out there. Yeah, I've been playing the warden a week and I know every single.
Oh yeah, sure.
I hate
sure.
those people.
Of course, if you've been playing it for a week, you probably don't have a warden a high enough level in order to have.
Right. So yeah, I've got 3 gambits, so no problem.
Well, okay.
Hey, 105 would be a high enough level to have all kinds of things.
Yeah, that is true.
Not have the first clue what you're doing with it. But
yeah,
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4.
Unless I've played the class, I can't imagine somebody who's never played Aria-ing a warden.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Now I want to do it just because.
And you probably will.
That's gonna turn out worse than the Runekeeper.
You are absolutely correct, and that would be the only reason I might not do it. Maybe on Bull Roar. I might do that on Bull Roar.
Yeah. Because you don't want to waste real money on it.
Nah.
Anything else to add to this before we head on to our weekend LOTRO?
I don't think so.
Then let's head in and see what we did last week. And Terry Adwin, what were you up to?
Not a lot actually, because I didn't have a ton of time to play this week. But I got lost in the haunted burrow with the girls of Middle Earth. Maven was really good at getting me not lost.
Yay, Maven!
So stick with me, kid.
Which is really funny because we would go through a door, and if she was like 2 steps away from the door, I would lose her. So I'd be trying to catch up, and she's like, no, wait, I gotta come back and get you. So Maven got a taste of what it's like for me to play with my mother, basically.
I hadn't thought of it that way. And then going through portals too,
And then, going through portals, and it's like,
well, then you've got to make sure you went through the same one, especially if they're too close together.
Yeah,
right. I still have no clue how to get through the Haunted Burrow, but we had an entertaining time.
We did.
Failed to explore the Bloody Gore on Teriadwin beyond some sightseeing, so we're all set on Thursday to go into Agronites, the Bloody Gore.
We were so ready.
We get into the game, and we take the quest, and I'm reading everything out loud, and we're all set, and we're ready to go. And we get about 20 steps up the road, and we can't progress into the Bloody Gore.
We just keep bouncing.
We're just bouncing at the barrier. So we spent about 15 minutes hanging out at the border to see if the lag would clear, and we would stop rubber banding. We entertained ourselves by watching another player also get caught at the border. That was entertaining.
And then that player's horse disappeared, and he was just hanging there in midair.
Hanging in the air.
Yeah, just hanging in midair. And then we were, I was kind of running around because the Bloody Gore sounds like a really bad place, and it really kind of is a really bad place, but it's also very cool looking.
Yeah.
It is very cool looking, actually. Yeah.
If anybody's been to the Red Maid and the Lone Lands, take that up to 11.
Yeah.
And add in some mist effects.
Yeah.
And what look like these noxious vapors just spewing from the ground.
And mushrooms that put you into combat.
Mushrooms
and stay in combat with you across the map.
And the ferns that look like they're getting ready to eat you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And that's the Bloody Gore.
They did a really good job designing it.
They did a really good job.
So it's an aptly named region that I was really bummed we didn't get to explore. So next week, hopefully, I will be able to tell you guys how much I enjoyed sightseeing in the Bloody Gore. So to make up for this, well-dressed killing machine joined the Ale Association so that he can make fun of hobbits and dwarves.
Nice.
Yeah, he's currently working on his rep with the AA so that he can be all buff and flex his muscles at the Yule Festival, which is coming up next week. Because I'm going to have to make him a new outfit to run around in Frostbluff. But Sanswinda, what were you up to this week?
Well, this week I got a baby spider. Yes, a baby spider to rank 3.
Can you believe that? Of all the creeps she would choose to make in the moors, she does a spider.
Well, okay, so I was going to focus on my warg because I like my warg on Arkenstone, and I was going to focus on my warg. But then my sister and I were playing our wargs with my nephew, and we did not want to do stuff and then outrank him significantly and make him frustrated trying to keep up with us. So we thought, we'll use different creeps. So I tried a Defiler, and I was not so fond of it. And then I rolled a Black Arrow, and I was like, okay, I'll try a Black Arrow. But I didn't want to run around behind a Black Arrow. So I made a spider, and it was surprisingly fun. So my spider is now rank 3, and has an appearance, and I'm actually really enjoying it. And I know, what? I shouldn't be. Yeah. So, my spider's now rank 3. And I splurged on some mitts for it because a very kind Defiler, who was probably completely exasperated with my sister and I, who now also has a baby spider to rank 3, kept telling us that we needed more mitts if we were going to stand any chance out there. But she also kept giving us directions, so I learned a new way to get to Grotham, which was very helpful. Anyway, I'm hoping that my baby spider will maybe someday be somewhat viable. Though, apparently Monday is not the best day to test that. I probably will anyway. And then I went raiding with Ploy. And, okay, so on Thursday night, we couldn't get through the Bloody Gore. We couldn't do hardly anything. For a while, I couldn't even log back into Landerval after I crashed to desktop. So I figured all this is the server lag stuff. But then on Friday, I went raiding with Ploy, and I kept freezing. And I couldn't move. And all my skills would have, like, the little ants around them. And I was like, oh man, there's bad lag, and everybody's like, no, there's not. I was like, crap. So, finally figured out, my Windows was trying to update. In the process of trying to update, it corrupted some of my drivers for my video card. And I think I got it all cleared up finally. But I had it almost cleared up, and got into the spider wing with Ploy of Helgrad Spider Wing. And, managed to actually be able to move some until we got to the last fight. They had already cleared out most of it though, so that's not saying that much. And then I spent, I don't know, it felt like forever watching spiders run past and be killed. And about halfway through this, like, I'm still trying to click my skills, and they're like, here comes the boss spider, and I was like, sweet, where? And I try to turn, and I can hardly move, and I'm like, they've got to be way ahead of me. And then they're, like, dividing up loot, and I'm still watching these little groups of spiders run over the top of me and go other places, and somebody's like, oh, good news, you're still alive! And I was like,
I mean, we'd been out of the instance, like, at least a couple of minutes, and Sans is going, yeah, I'm watching this great spider fight right now.
Right, like, and you can see, like, the satellite strike, and
God.
the hunters around me all pulling back their bows and letting loose arrows, and I was like, this is kind of fun, but I can't do anything, and they're like, yeah, no, we're totally out of there, and I'm like,
it's the worst.
I didn't even get anything for this, and then finally my game caught up, and I got something because somebody was kind and kept the raid together, so thank you very much. Or part of the raid together at that point. But, yeah, and then I went into Agronite with them and killed some things and finished up one of my quests, which was nice. An unexpected byproduct, but... and... then I also was able to get some more scrolls and starlit crystals from the Court of Saragost instance this week. And I might have been guilty of kind of dragging Pineleaf through it. I mean,
Hi, did you go in on your Berg, or did you go on...
I went on my warden.
Okay.
and I met Nina again, and yeah, so got more scrolls and starlit crystals, and actually finished the scrolls for Sansa's sword.
Yay!
Which was so awesome, because that felt so out of reach. Like, I needed so many. And I had some extra scrolls, and I sent them to my new runekeeper, who desperately needs them. And who is the main reason that I probably will not Arya a warden immediately. But, yeah, so that was pretty cool, and Sansa's now working to finish actually unlocking the dailies, because she has yet to do that, because she keeps getting sidetracked by things like, going to the Court of Saragost for scrolls and starlit crystals, or going raiding, or, you know, other things that sound fun. So, Maven, how was your week?
Well, I went epic battling in a raid with Ploy. We did Pelargir and Helmsdike, and the cool part about that is these guys have done it so much, they got the strategy down. You know, they even know, I mean, they've done it so much that the raid leader will even say, okay, so we're going to have a side quest coming up, and it's either going to be this or it's going to be that. And if it's this, so-and-so and so-and-so go there. And if it's that, so-and-so and so-and-so go there. I'm like, oh, I'm just like...
there's a plugin.
Yeah, right, but she didn't have the plugin. And I'm just like, I'll just put somebody on follow. It's like, or they'll say to me, you know, okay, tripwires go here, and, you know, it's great. I mean, I'm learning a lot, and, you know, I mean, if I do it another 50,000 times with them, maybe I'll actually get the thing down. The nice thing, too, is that Glordrell's actually, I think she's like rank 9 engineer now, so, I mean, I actually can do stuff like take down barricades, and, you know, I mean, and my repair is faster, and, you know, that kind of stuff. Anyway, so it was fun. It's fun to be able to do that stuff and not have it be, like, horrible, which is how it's always been for me. So that was fun. And then, like Sans said, we went raiding with Proy, and I got to watch a slideshow. Oh no, that was Sans's. I had another rating. We did the Helograd raids, but we did the raids backwards. We did the dragon first, and then we did the other ones. And I sort of did it with Sanswinda.
I finished a worm deed randomly.
Did you, oh, that's right. You came back in, actually.
I was like, deed completed.
She went LinkedIn. She came back in. She goes, oh, I completed a deed while I was gone. Thanks. I think, didn't you come back into the Giants part and we'd all left? Or you were...
No, you were still in there.
Okay, you had gone.
The problem was I got
LinkedIn and
stuck
came back
in there.
That's right.
I couldn't move forward or backwards.
Oh, everybody was like, "Oh, it's feeling really bad about that," because we've all been there. And then another of the ploy guys, one of the members in New Zealand, who has not done any of the new instances, started a group to go do the 3-man and 6-man. So we ran through it just around once at 105, just so he could get the mechanics down. So next week it'll be 115.
Yay!
And so so it was a lot of. This is so weird to look at my things for the week, and it's like, oh, I went raiding and epic battling and instancing, and I'm like, God, if you'd showed me this a year ago and said this is going to be your highlights, I'd be like, no way. Wow, how far I've come. Pine Leaf, how about you?
Well, I certainly didn't do any raiding, but on my Quick Hollow Warden, I completed the final Allegiance quest, and I also reached Celebrated with the conquest of Gorgoroth.
Congratulations.
And I have to tell you that certainly I have not had as much incentive to do dailies after I managed it. Because the main reason I was doing it was for the Allegiance stuff.
Yeah.
And then later on, I followed an invisible goblin.
You followed an invisible goblin?
What?
No,
interesting.
Because what happened is that I had a kinmate who...
Oh, that's right. I think you mentioned that.
Yeah, that's right. Terry Edwin won't know about this yet, but there is this thing about there is a quest involving where one of the options is to follow a goblin, and I had done it earlier, so now I had a kinmate that was doing that quest, but I of course had already done that quest, so therefore I was just helping her along and doing all the quests in the area. So I'm following her along, and she's following the goblin, listening to what the goblin's saying and all that fun stuff, and I don't see a thing because I've already done the quest. So therefore I followed an invisible goblin. Then on Laurelland, my warden there eavesdropped on a meeting in Mordor. And that was, of course, to finish the Black Book of Mordor. Then on Gladden, my lore master ran some skirmishes. That was for my video series, Lore Master. And then finally, on the field trip on Arkenstone, I led a few small fellowship skirmishes because we had 3 people at round 105. That's right, because we're 104, 105, 107, I believe, were the levels of our characters. So we ran a couple of skirmishes, one at 105. Then to show you how much it jumps up, we did one at 106. You can see how much tougher they get as soon as you hit 106. We currently have 19 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious array of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be a guest with us for an episode of LOTRO Players News. We did not receive any emails this week, but if you'd like to send us one, you can send it to podcast@LOTROplayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, the Player Alliance @PlayersAlly, LOTRO Players @LOTRO Players, Ariandis @Ariandis, Maven @Tolkien Maven, Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles, Sanswinda @Sanswinda, and Terry Edwin @Terry Edwin. LOTRO Players News is broadcast every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. And we also have our sister program, DDO Players News, which is broadcast every Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. You can join us for our live shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight. And this is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.